Greetings and salutations, world. I am the Bearded Con Man, and welcome to my review of Thor Ragnarok. Now, just so you guys know, this review is going to contain both spoilers and non-spoilers, but not to worry, when I get into the spoiler edition of this review, you'll be very well notified and warned and all of that good stuff. So without further ado, let's get right into it. If you guys, by any chance, had seen any of the videos that I've done with Do It League when we were talking about living in the golden age of nerdom, we were talking about how excited we were for this film. And let me tell you something, the hype you feel from those trailers, especially the one to the track of Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin, that feeling carries all the way through this movie. And I am really surprised that the trailers did a great job in not giving anything away. This movie was awesome. It was so good. I was thoroughly surprised, very impressed. It felt fresh in a lot of ways, and it didn't retread the typical comic book movie formula, if that makes sense. It was funny, the action was awesome, the visuals were really fun, and they have that Jack Kirby era of Marvel Comics feel to it. Taika Waititi knocked it out of the park. This is the best Thor movie, and now that I think about it, that's not the best compliment I can give it because that's not hard to do. You could just tell everyone had absolute fun in this movie. And they talked about it, this is not a spoiler. A lot of this movie was actually improvised. Now they had a general roadmap and where they were going, but situations and conversations, for example, we know each other, he's a friend from work. That was actually a line from a Make-A-Wish child when the cast of Ragnarok went and visited him. He had that idea for that line and they put it in the movie. So what I'm getting at is there was a lot of originality in this movie, and it just created this, in a strange way, all of the randomness created this organic, flowing, cohesive story. And it's awesome. It is so awesome. I'm so impressed with what Taika Waititi put together in this film. And it is one of my favorite Marvel movies, I'm not gonna lie, and I cannot wait to see it again. Alright, now that we have tackled everything on the non-spoiler side, we are getting into spoiler territory. So if you have not seen this movie yet, I would ask that you please turn this video off now, go see the movie, and then come back for the second half of the video. You have been warned. That entire opening fight was awesome. I loved it. And I loved how they treated Surtur, and I just, everything about that opening, it made me want to see more of Thor's adventures. Like that got me. It brought me in, I was ready to rock and roll. It was so great. And then you do the fight to Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin, which we had seen already in the promotional trailer for Ragnarok itself. I didn't actually think that the song would make it into the movie, but it did, twice. And it works so beautifully both times. I mean, if you think about the lyrics to that song, it fits the realm of Thor. It's like pretty much Thor's theme song, just like, you know, Iron Man has Black Sabbath and AC/DC, Thor now has Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. We now have an established theme song for Thor, Odin's son. The scene in the Quinjet where Black Widow's video message plays back and the Hulk sees her, and that initial where he's reverting back into Bruce and he's literally fighting and freaking out, not wanting to turn back into Bruce, that was amazing. That is one of my absolute favorite Hulk moments that I have seen to date. Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster was everything I hoped it to be. He was at his Jeff Goldblum-y best. He Jeff Goldblumed it up in the best way possible. You can tell they just said, all right, Jeff, you're the Grandmaster. This is generally where we are going in these scenes. Go. Like, you know what I mean? It just, they gave Jeff Goldblum complete control. Absolutely complete control on what his character would do, what his character would say. It was amazing, and the result was fantastic. It was so good. I loved it. Especially even the post-credit scene where he's talking about the revolution. I cannot wait to see him come back, and I cannot wait to see him interact with his brother, Tivan, the Collector from Guardians of the Galaxy. So, loved his character. Everything about it was amazing. Just to the Grandmaster himself, Jeff Goldblum, you did a fantastic job. Cate Blanchett as Hela. Amazing. She looked and was incredible. I always thought, and I'm gonna gush a little bit, I've always thought that Cate Blanchett was a very beautiful woman, but I have developed this crush now, this newfound crush, because she is, and excuse the pun, she is hella fine in this movie. Just the swaggerness that she has, just the absolute control and power and resolve. Just she embodied the goddess of death in the most fantastic ways possible. She is definitely one of the best Marvel villains we have ever gotten to date. So well done, so well done. She killed it. She killed a lot of people, but she killed it in this movie. It was awesome. I will tell you the two things that I did not like about this movie. Number one, I absolutely hated what they did to my dudes Volstagg and Fandral, two of the Warriors 3. The characters played by Ray Stevenson and Zachary Levi, respectively. They're part of the Warriors 3, and you just have them taken out by Hela just throwing swords into them. That's it? You're not even going to give them a fight? They should have been able to at least fight, give them a valiant, honorable death where they're trying to protect Asgard. Don't let them go out like chumps like that. It felt like a disservice to those characters. And I hated that there wasn't even an element of Thor mourning his literal friends. Those are like, the Warriors 3 are his compatriots, his buddies, his war pals. There wasn't even a mention of them being like, oh, they're dead. Like, he didn't even... that aspect I did not like. And the second aspect was Lady Sif. Where was my badass vixen, Lady Sif, in this movie? The last time we saw her after Thor: The Dark World was on the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So we know that she's still out there, but there wasn't even a mention of her in this movie. One of the strongest, most valiant warriors Asgard has to offer. And there wasn't even a single line about her. We saw an actress who portrayed her in the tragedy of the hero of Loki in that play, but there was no mention of Lady Sif elsewhere. So all I can figure is Loki banished her from Asgard as well. Maybe Sif figured out that who was on the throne wasn't actually Odin, and Loki banished her before she could do anything about it. I don't know. It gives me hope that she's still out there and she's still alive, and she can come back in a future movie. So that warms my heart a little bit, but come on, show my girl some love. At least have a line about where she's at. This movie was awesome. Those are just the only two things I was just like, I kind of didn't care for. Let's talk about the good, because there's a lot of it. Loved all of the Planet Sakaar stuff. I loved the aliens. I loved the planet. I loved the whole fight between Thor and Hulk. That was amazing. To even my favorite line from the movie, which was Thor reenacting Black Widow's, "Hey there, big guy, sun's getting real low." I feel like in a lot of ways, that entire scene was making fun of that whole scenario in Age of Ultron, because it blows up in Thor's face in the most epic way possible. I'm sorry. It's so good. It's so good. And then Loki gets up because Hulk thrashes Thor the same way he did Loki in Avengers. And Loki's like, now you know how it feels. Amazing. Just everything about that entire scene was phenomenal. My other favorite lines, Point Break. Reassuring Bruce after he comes back with the sun's getting real low, sun's getting real low. Thinking that that's gonna soothe Bruce somehow, even though that's used for the Hulk. What it means to be a hero. And he takes the ball, thinking it's gonna crash through the window and ricochets and hits him in the head. Those were some of my favorite parts. as far as the comedic elements go. So let's talk about the things that took me by surprise. The first one being the idea of Hela being the sister of Thor and Loki and Odin's firstborn. That is a big deviation from the comics because Hela is actually the daughter of Loki in the comics. I really like that change. It worked very well. And it created this impending doom because now Hela is coming in and she has a legitimate claim to the throne now that Odin's gone. So I love what they did with her character. The idea that Asgard wasn't as lofty and as good as always was thought to be. The idea that Odin and Hela both were like these tyrannical, conquesting warlords pretty much. Just as Hela put it, Asgard was built on blood, tears, and the destruction of entire civilizations. It's very interesting how pretty much Asgard is a lie and how everything's just kind of glossed over until Hela returns. So it was a very, very shocking place to take that portion of the story. I loved how it just completely flipped everything on its head, what you thought of Odin, the idea of Asgard in itself, how Thor was pretty much raised on a lie. It was a very interesting place to take it, and I really like that because, that's some dark stuff. That is some seriously dark stuff. I was genuinely surprised to see that both Korg and Meek were in this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing those guys in there. Thor becoming imbued with lightning powers, that's not in the comics, but it makes sense and I really love it because he's like pretty much a male counterpart to Storm. I mean, he has full control and power of lightning now. He doesn't need Mjolnir. Granted, it's gonna suck not having that hammer around, but still, he's the god of thunder. He's not the god of hammers, as his father puts it. Mjolnir is just a conduit for his power over lightning. That was so cool, and I thoroughly loved that because it just takes Thor into a completely new, uncharted territory, and I don't even know where it's gonna go. So, cannot wait to see where we go with that. Next big development for Thor, he loses an eye. That completely flew under the radar. Even in the promotional material, they did a fantastic job covering that up. I had no idea that that was coming, but he looks badass now with that eye piece like his dad. I can't wait to see him, return to Earth and everyone's like, dude, you got short hair, you lost an eye, you lost your hammer, and you got lightning powers now? You know that Tony Stark is gonna have a field day, and that's pretty much how the conversation's gonna go down. So yeah, the whole losing of the eye, did not see that coming, but I loved it. And that's kind of messed up now that I think about it. Another big thing that was pretty much confirmed for us, Hela takes us into Odin's treasure room, and we find out that most of the relics he has are fakes, including the Infinity Gauntlet. I don't know what the ramifications of that are. I don't know if that means Odin never knew where the Infinity Gauntlet was, so if he created a lie and a replica fake, that he not only had the Infinity Gauntlet, but it was completely assembled with all the gems, maybe no one would look for it. I'm sure that we'll get more into that in Infinity War, but that is huge because that confirms that, it's not a messed up thing where there are two Infinity Gauntlets out there. There's only one, and Thanos has it. That's pretty scary. The other big thing I did not see coming was the actual destruction of Asgard. I thought for sure that Hela would unite with Surtur to take Asgard over, wipe everyone out and create her legion of undead completely loyal to her. Because in a way, Surtur would bring about Ragnarok by destroying Asgard because, as Odin put it, the people are Asgard. It's not a place. Thor has Loki reignite Surtur with the eternal flame, and Surtur takes on Hela, destroys her, and destroys Asgard. Did not see that coming, but it was awesome. It was crazy. It was supremely crazy. And that's pretty much how you can sum up this movie, is it just was absolutely crazy. So that's pretty much it, except for the major Easter egg at the end the mid-credits scene. We find our heroes on the spaceship heading to Earth to create pretty much a new Asgard, most likely in that place in Norway where Odin bit the dust and told his sons to remember this place, right? We have Loki and Thor making their peace with each other. Everything is good, except for one problem. A big, overbearing ship pulls up alongside of Thor's ship, and then it cuts to black. Now, I know that confused a lot of people. I knew exactly what it meant. Ladies and gentlemen, and it is confirmed, I didn't look at anything until after I got out of the movie, but it is confirmed that is Thanos' ship. That is Thanos' ship coming on the remaining Asgardians, and that's where we end our movie. So you know for a fact, things do not bode well for the Odin son and the remaining Asgardians. I cannot wait to see Infinity War. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Oh, it's gonna be so good, but so bad because I know all of my heroes aren't safe. But enough about me. I want to pose this question to you guys. What were your favorite parts from the movie? What were the things that you disliked? Do you agree with my overall summarization of all things Thor Ragnarok? Let me know in the comments section below because I would love to discuss this with you guys. Regardless of whether you drop a comment on this, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, drop a like on it and subscribe today. Hit that red button and follow it up with that blue bell button to turn notifications on for each time I upload a video. It would mean everything to me. And until next time, guys, I am the Bearded Con Man. Remember, beard. Be exceptional and rad dudes. We'll see you next time.